I have De'Von Achane here.
Okay, so he's on my list. See, I was going to, build up to that one as the last one I talk about. He's the highest ranked, but you're just off the cuff, like, hey, this top 15 pick, bust. All right, let's hear
Yeah.
it.
Well, it just felt easy because of the injury news. Obviously, there's injury news. He's unlikely to play week one, it looks like now. But
I would say at least questionable right now.
yeah,
I've seen varying opinions, and we just don't know enough yet. But it's definitely fair to question whether or not he'll be out there week one.
yeah, it's important to note that like last season, he had more receptions than Christian McCaffrey's ever had in a season. He led all running backs in receptions, and I don't think that's a repeatable attribute for him.
He
That
was
was
third
really
on the team in receptions too.
yes, and that's really because of where that offense was at. It was in a really bad spot for periods of time. Uh, he only had 203 carries in 17 games last year, so he's not making up for all of that production. When you combine that with the fact that he dropped from his crazy rookie season of 7.8 yards per carry down to 4.6 yards per carry, we're
Yeah.
seeing the regression that everybody knew was going to happen. But there's a lot more potential for that to even get worse. We talk about them losing their all-star left tackle. The offensive line in Brandon Thorne's rankings comes out at 28th overall. It's not a good offensive line.
And they already had the sixth lowest run blocking grade from PFF last year.
Yeah. You throw in the fact that we're in year 4 of Mike McDaniel. Last year, when Tua was healthy, it looked like offenses were getting the motion figured out. More importantly, it's the same weapons. Like he's going to have to come out with some really brand new schematic things. Not that it can't, but you're betting on that. You're also betting not only on his health, and he's a small guy who had injury concerns coming into it. And we're seeing those concerns come to life, but you're betting on Tua being healthy. Without Tua last year, he averaged 9.7 fantasy points per game. So it's very difficult for me to see a path for him being a top.
Actually, unless I missed one, and maybe I did because I did. Maybe you found the stat. I did it manually. I have him at 5.85, like half PPR points per game without Tua. Either way, it was a
on,
totally different guy
on
with and without
PPR.
Tua. Okay, okay, yeah. So I did find the PPR, and I think it was similar to that. And I was like, oh, I'll go look at the game log and see. It was
But
18.3 with 5.85 without Tua.
yeah, those break up right. I'm 9.8 with 22.6
And it
without.
was
Yeah.
2.5 receptions per game without Tua, 5.75 receptions per game with Tua. And I said he was third on the team. He had like 30 more catches than Jalen Waddle did last year.
Yeah, and you throw in the fact that like that is a product of a very bad offense, and he was manufacturing fantasy points in a way we don't like to see in fantasy, which is when the offense sucks, he was still getting his points just by catching the ball and doing nothing with it.
We like it when it's happening, but as far as like repeatability, it's just not something you can bank on happening year to year. And like to a lesser extent, I mean, Brock Bowers is not on my bust list. Easily could have been, not because I have anything against him, but he's going just so high for a tight end. But that would be pretty much my only Brock Bowers concern, even independent of his ADP. Like, okay, love Bowers, but was this just a really unhealthy offense? I had to throw the ball to him 150 times last year. Now he's going to get a lot of targets because he's great, but now they have a real quarterback. They have a real running back. They have like a real offense. And then in the case of De'Von Achane, like there are some other good running backs on the team besides him. So will he lose some of those rushing opportunities to kind of preserve him and keep him healthier? And if that does happen, like what kind of years are Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill going to have? We're ranking like Waddle, I think we're not like super aggressive on anybody. I say we as in like the ADP, but they are all being ranked as either wide receiver 2 or fringe starter. And if we're gonna say Tua's not in the top 20 quarterbacks, it feels tough for all of those things to happen and for Tua to have that bad of a season.
Yeah, and well, the elephant in the room is like if Tyreek Hill is actually beginning his descent into kind of a mid wide receiver, that really limits the options this offense has, and it gives defenses more capabilities to stack the box, to attribute some of this motion, to put Tyreek Hill on an island and not bracket him, and that makes it a harder path for Achan to get the production he needs. Going back to his rookie season, over the last 2 years, De'Von Achane has seen the third lowest stacked box percent of any running back in the NFL.
Mhm.
That's because of how McDaniel runs the offense, to be clear. It's because he motions and there's always movement and he's pulling linebackers out.
And also because teams are terrified of Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
And Jalen Waddle too, but more so Tyreek Hill.
But you take away that Tyreek Hill X factor, teams can put him in single man coverage and leave him on an island. They can keep the linebackers in the box, and it makes things a lot more difficult. I mean, they're trotting out Darren Waller at tight end. Like like Miami is in a desperate situation, and we're like, as a fantasy community, people don't seem to be reacting to that with Jalen Waddle's ADP.
Yeah,
De'Von
with Achane. Yeah, like I have him as the RB11. He's going as the RB7. I don't remember where you had him at off the top of my head, so I'm not like catastrophically out on him. I just feel like a lot of the risks that we're talking about here are not really being baked in to his ADP. And I mean, I think you look back at last year, I think he finished as the RB7. So I think that's like the easy argument that people can make is like, well, he did that last year. Like, okay, what's he going to do when the offense is better this year? And I would just say we just don't know kind of what the distribution in the offense is going to look like. Like he could very well, he's a great player. He could have a couple huge games and he end up the RB6. He could also still do that and let you down because he's so inconsistent. And it's hard to trust on a week-to-week basis. And then also there's just the elephant of the room. Like we mentioned the splits with and without Tua. I mean, we're punishing guys like Chris Olave and guys like that, Jalen Waddle, heck, even for their own, or in Jalen Waddle's case, his own and his quarterback's injury risks. Like Achane is probably not being punished enough for the potential that Tua could just miss 6 games and that offense looks nothing like itself when he's not out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just have him around names like Josh Jacobs is below him in ADP. Bucky Irving is below him.
Look at you on the Josh Jacobs bandwagon.
Dude, Chase Brown is below him in ADP. Like
you move by that quickly.
All those guys, I feel more confident in their offenses being productive. Even after our recent Bucks conversation we just had. And all of those guys also get a lion's share of the rushing work, which again, 207 carries for Achane. We're betting on a high efficiency play again. And we're betting on an offense returning to form when nothing has changed except it's gotten worse.
Yeah. And I don't have Tyreek Hill's reception perception in front of me, but I know enough to say that Harmon saw not like crazy drop off, but just some concerning slippage to the point of like it may be that we are getting kind of the decline of Tyreek Hill, which would make sense. He's 31. And he's a speed guy. How quickly it goes, no idea. He could be just as good as he was last year. But I think what he kind of said that stuck with me is when guys kind of go from where they were to where he is, like kind of make that progression downward, they don't usually go back up. So that's something that scares me for this offense as a whole.
He had more kids last year than touchdowns. Think about that. That's an advanced stat.